Welcome to the Church of Obelisk. Today, for a change, we're not going to look at Chen, but rather at Lone Druid, and we're going to look at 33 playing him in the offlane role, which is something that he also did a bit before this patch, but it's been a while since he actually played Lone Druid in the offlane. So we're going to have to see how this new build works out in this new version of Lone Druid, and that's what we're going to do in this video.
My holiness deepens.
So Bulldog is also back to playing Lone Druid in the offlane. So this is not just a 33 thing, who's always been sort of kind of unusual with the offlane heroes he plays. And the idea here is basically that Lone Druid now scales a lot better because he levels up with his despair. He levels up for each level up. You get 5 damage and 75 HP. And this means that Lone Druid is no longer forced to be as sort of single-mindedly invested in putting scaling items on his bear to stay relevant. So previously he could also be very aggressive with the bear early on. He was strong in the early mid game and in laning stage. But then if you don't buy these scaling items, you just fall off really hard. And that's something that's no longer as much the case with the new patch. And also, very importantly, in this new patch you also have all these neutral items, which of course means that this advantage that Lone Druid has of having 12 slots is much stronger. And just as the game goes on, you're just going to accumulate some neutral items, and that will help you scale even if you're not getting the most farm. So the idea with Lone Druid in the offlane is that he's just a really strong laner. That's a big plus here. Obviously, that's always been the case. And also he's now a lot better in a dual lane because you now have this root right from the start. It's only a 0.75 second root, so it's not the strongest. But still, it helps a lot if in the sort of dual lane. Which now means that you can start playing aggressive from the start, whereas previously for the first 5 levels you just were kind of passive and didn't really do very much except last sitting and denying. Whereas in an offlane, typically you want to be a bit more aggressive and typically you want to put pressure on the enemy carry, and that's something that this new Lone Druid can do a lot better, despite his early game in the whole being a bit weaker because you have less damage than the bear in the start. You also, very importantly, can't buy Stoutle anymore, and the bear does not get this sort of innate damage block that the melee heroes get. Let's talk a bit of the items. He started with the double regen, tangos and healing self. In this kind of lane where you're laying against a hero like Ursa that can just get on top of you and can be very dangerous, you kind of want to have the Savage Rod level 2. In other lanes you might get away with just getting a single set of regen. But here having this Savage Rod is just too important, so you can only skill your Spirit Link on level 4, which definitely want to max out this Spirit Bear. Spirit Bear no longer levels up with damage when you level it up. It just does it automatically when you gain levels, but not if you put points in the summon Spirit Bear. But there's still lots of other things that get better with levels. You get more HP, you get more regen, you get a better base attack time, you get more armor, you get more move speed, and also importantly, this build is also level up now. Entangling Claws starts out with just 0.75, and then once you level 4 bear, you're back to the old 3 seconds. And then also this demolish, the bonus damage to buildings, is also a matter of leveling that up. However, the return ability, you get that right from the start, so that's one thing that they improved in terms of your early game for Lone Druid. And you also get the spell resistance 33% right from the start, which previously you could only with this level 4 bear. And they're gonna go for Lina here. And Lina is a fairly tanky hero with her 5 armor, but still they're gonna put her very low, and they're playing here with the Bloodseeker, so getting this Lina low is almost as good or maybe even better than killing her. So it just means lots and lots of bonus for this Bloodseeker from his thirst. 33 also went for a Blightstone as a starting item. This is not something you usually want to do. Usually if you want to get one of these 300 gold items, you're better off getting a Venom, but in this case Treant Protector had this already, so it's okay. I still would rather have liked to see some more branches on the main bear, and a TP on the Spirit Bear. Also with this starting build, he started out without the Quelling Blade and got it later from the Courier. I feel like this is a really important item to last hitting, especially now that you only have 25 damage on level 1 Bear. So I'm not really too fond of 33's starting items here, but what he's getting now is solid. He's going for these phase boots, and it gets countered here by the Ursa. It's Ursa at level 3 only, so this Lone Druid is really strong here, and I don't know what Luna's doing here, going so close. I'm just going to pay with a life. I'm going to try to go for this Ursa as well. Attack with the bear, please. Thank you. And they're going to get this kill. Very nicely done. So this also means that they can secure the runes. It's 5 minutes. So this pretty much means that they've now won the lane. And he's going for this phase boots. Phase boots, of course, is a very, very strong item for the Spirit Bear, with the extra movement speed is very important, and as well as, of course, the damage and the armor. Because with this new Lone Druid, especially if you're playing offlane, you typically want to get the 10 Spirit Armor talent at level 15. So you're kind of staffed for armor. Also, what you also want to do is you typically want to go for a Mask of Madness, which of course further reduces your armor when you use that. So every bit of armor you can get is very important. And they're going to go on this Ursa once again, and this Ursa really can't lane anymore against this Lone Druid, and he's going to die here. With this catapult wave, you want to be aggressive here because they've won the lane, so they're even using this living armor on one of the creeps to let it live a little bit longer. And now they're going to pound into this tower. This bear does 30% bonus damage against buildings with level 3 demolish, but you no longer have the normal attack, the basic attack type that you used to have previously, which gave the Spirit Bear a lot of damage against towers, but reduces damage against heroes. So this new Lone Druid does less damage to buildings, and it is not really made up for by this ability. The True Form that also gives you this passive on your main hero. But you lose the battle cry, so you're no longer this sort of building wrecking machine, at least not to the same extent. You're still good against buildings, but not that good any longer. But you're now much stronger against heroes, and this is also something that allows the Spirit Bear to scale a lot better into the late game. Okay, so now we have the Mask of Madness online. Mask of Madness is a very strong item on this new Lone Druid. It now only lasts 6 seconds, but it's shorter cooldown, so that's generally a bit stronger. The silence matters a lot less in this new patch because you can just cast your Savage Roar from the main hero, and then it will still roar around your bear. And also this return is now a channeling ability, so it's not something you typically want to get in a fight. You typically don't want to cast it in a fight, so the silence matters a lot less than it used to. And he's going to try and take down this tower. He also tanked a bit with his hero, very importantly, because this hero has a lot of sustain. You can see he heals up really quickly when he attacks with the bear. Here, 33 is doing something really interesting. He puts the phase boots and the Mask of Madness on his main hero and lets the bear in the base, and then he can recall him. And this way you can just get to lane a little bit faster than if you actually wants to go top now. But in any case, this way you can get to lane a little bit faster than if you just keep these boots on your bear, because the bear can't attack with the heroes not nearby. So that's just a little bit of small efficiency play that 33 is getting in here. Now you can pass those items back and have them in the bear again. It's also getting a Gloves of Haste. Drum is a really important item on Spirit Bear, or on Lone Druid rather. It now gives a attack speed aura, and of course the active has also been really good on the bear. But the problem is just this item doesn't scale all that well. But since you're an offlaner, you don't have to scale that well. It's okay to get these more aggressive, less scaling items. However, you already have a drum on Bloodseeker here, so maybe not the best choice here, and he's also, that means he's gonna hold off on actually buying this drum. So that's a quick buy, but they're just gonna switch over and get Vlad's instead. And Vlad's is another one of these items that doesn't really scale well, but if you're an offlaner, these are the kinds of items you wanna buy. And so that's what sort of your game plan is as Offlane Lone Druid is you start with this regular carry mid type of item build with Phase Boots and Mask of Madness, because that actually helps you fight a lot in the early game. But then you transition into buying all these aura items. You buy things like Drum, like Vlad's, like AC, and you can also buy something like a pipe if you need to. And you're still going to scale reasonably well with all these neutral items that you can get, as well as just with a regular level up, the bonus damage you get on your bear. In terms of game plan here, they're fine with just farming. They have this triple core lineup that scales really well, and the enemy doesn't really have heroes that scale too well, so they're fine with just trading farm, and so far they're doing quite well with that, and they're slightly ahead in terms of net worth. But this hero is not a hero that just needs to AFK farm. You're not farming a Radiance, you're not doing any of that nonsense, you don't have a Midas. This hero is actually really good at fighting in the early mid game. With just a Phase Boots and a Mask of Madness, you deal a lot of damage, and then with all these auras that you're gonna get, you also provide a lot of utility to your team. So don't be afraid of fighting, don't be afraid of team fighting with this hero, especially if you're playing him as the offlaner. So 50 minutes about to come up, so they're gathering here at this outpost. We're gonna fight over this outpost. And very importantly, staying out on the outskirts of this fight with the main hero and attacking with the bear. This bear is very tanky at this stage of the game, they can't really take it down, but main hero is not as tanky yet, so you don't want this to get focused down. And great thing here with this hero is that you're an excellent counter against reverse polarity. As long as they don't RP both you and your bear, you can always Savage Roar and just completely mitigate this ultimate just with the Savage Roar. So that's very important to keep in mind. This is why he wants to keep the bear and the hero separated as long as RP is up, and now RP has been committed and they don't really get anything out of it. They also commit Ravage, don't get anything out of that, so now they can just keep pushing here and take down this tier 2 tower with the siege creep. And periodically 33 is just teleporting his bear back to the base, picking up new items and healing the bear. Your bear doesn't have the most sustain. You do have the Mask of Madness, which helps, but even so your bear often is going to be low, and then the best way to heal it up is just to TP it back to the base and recall it. This is just basically a 50 gold completely heal your bear and pick up items. This is very efficient in the laning stage as well as just later in the game. You can of course resummon your bear, but that's a 2-minute cooldown, and if you then die after doing that, you're in really deep trouble. And this Ursa is now foolishly trying to Roche here. They don't know it, but they know it now, and that is an easy kill on Ursa. And now they can actually just go into the Roche pit. They have this TA, which of course with her Deso is very good at doing Roshan, and this bear can tank Roshan, and actually scouting here with his main hero. And the great thing is, if he gets jumped, he can still roar on his bear and save his hero that way. It is as long as Mask Command is not activated. So right now the Radiant has a overwhelming advantage. They have this 6k gold lead and this Aegis, which makes it a lot more difficult for this lineup of the Dire to do anything. So now what they want to do is just push out the remaining outer towers and control the map that way. They want to also probably get control of this outpost before 20 minutes. So that's basically the game plan. And the Dire know this, so what they're doing here is they're split pushing. They know that this tower is going to fall, they can't really defend it, so they're split pushing down here, and Lone Druid does a very risky TP here. He goes in here, and he's sort of confident that they can't really jump him. And this is sort of the purpose we would accomplish with split pushing. A lot of people think that split pushing is all just about taking those objectives. Well, partly that, partly it's also just to force your enemy to split up and be able to take favorable fights. And even though they took this favorable fight with an enormous advantage, it still wasn't enough. But that's just because they're so far behind in this stage of the game. So now the Radiant have taken all the other towers, they've secured the outposts, and now they're looking to go high ground. And they initiated on Magnus. Magnus doesn't have RP yet, but there's an excellent Ravage here with Blink, and they get a really good fight here for Dire. Magnus trying to get out here, but he's gonna die. And Lone Druid here using his ultimate so he doesn't die, and of course this also gives you the double demolish, it gives you a double entangling clause, so you can just right click someone and they just stay entangled. But a really nice buyback here from Magnus and some nice skewering. Puts the TA on the high ground here, and this is going to be an excellent fight for the Dire. Fight back here, and 33 wisely doesn't right away resummon his bear. He waits to teleport out and then resummons the bear when it's safe, because the worst thing you can do in Lone Druid is to summon your bear and then have it die immediately, especially if you're as far ahead as they are right now. If you resummon during a fight and then die, that can just completely turn the game around, and you don't have to take this risk. So they're just going to recover here. They're going to wait for TA to revive. They have 2 outposts. They don't really have any sort of hurry. They don't need to end this game very quickly. Lone Druid gets gone in here. It's a bit aggressive here. This is a bit, as I just said, you don't need to take any crazy risks right now, and that is a crazy risk to take. And so it's going to die for this. Kind of bad of him. Yeah, like if you had that far, you don't want to take these kinds of risks. AC is a very natural follow-up item on Lone Druid, just because the stats are really good for your bear, and AC is also an item that was buffed in the recent patch. Most of the buff is not as relevant to Lone Druid, because if you put the AC on your bear, he's not going to get the attribute bonus that you get now. But AC has gotten slightly cheaper, and there's like no drawback, so AC definitely a really good item still on Lone Druid. And the problem with this build is you don't really have that much damage, which is slightly mitigated by just the natural damage that your bear gets from leveling up. And they're gonna go here on Lone Druids and kind of burst him. And that is, yeah, 33 just playing a little bit too aggressively here. Especially if you died recently, you need to be very careful what he's doing. And he just played like, he just pushed out this wave without really seeing anything. That was like a really bad mistake. But on the other hand, this is Ravage used, this is RP used, and now this Dire team is in a really precarious spot because they are up one hero, but they still can't really fight. They try to do it because they think they have the enormous advantage, but without those big ultimates, this fight is not gonna go all that well. And yeah, TA will try to catch this Magnus, not quite getting him, but they get a lot of kills here, and this Bloodseeker is unstoppable with this speed, and they get 3 kills, and that is a 1,000 gold swing, as well as now probably a high ground. What are the buybacks? We do have a buyback on Puck, but not on Lina and not on Ursa, so this is not really a tower that they can defend. And 23 is now back. He doesn't have a bear yet, but he's going to have one soon. He's also dragging the creep wave here with him, just for some easy farming for his team. And they actually decide to not commit for this tower. I'm not sure about that. I think you could have gotten it, because these ultimates are not up yet, but they decide to play it a bit safer, and they are still far ahead, so you don't need to take these risks. So now 33 definitely needs to play it a bit more safe. He still has a long cooldown on some of the Spirit Bears. You don't want to die again. It would be very devastating. And ideally it's just best to just wait for this cooldown to come back. It's best to fight with Lone Druid when you have a resummon available. Then you just have 2 lives on that bear, which is very important. And the shrines are coming up, or rather the outposts are coming up, so he's going to take out this outpost and scout with the bear meanwhile, very important. And they're anti-collapsing on him, and he's going to try to somehow escape this. Doesn't want to die again, transforms into his ultimate and keeps wailing on his Lina. It's a fairly soft target, no particular escape, and this way he still survives. We have the Thunder's Ravage, and we have here we can see on the bear, he walked with the bear and completely negated this ultimate. And this is just what makes this Lone Druid so strong against Magnus. Magnus has this 2-minute cooldown ultimate, whereas you have this 8-second cooldown Savage Throw with a talent, which completely negates that ultimate. That's as long as you don't catch both the bear and the druid, this ultimate is just useless against Lone Druid. And now we have this final high ground push. There's not really much that they can do here to stop this. This game is going to end very soon. So to summarize, the idea behind Lone Druid Offlane is you're a very strong laner, you're strong in early mid-game fighting, you get this phase boots, you get this Mask of Madness, and then you get these aura items. He didn't go for drums here in this game. Actually, he's going to get the drums a little bit later. He didn't get it yet because they already have drums on this team. But even just Gloves of Haste is actually a fairly good value item on the Spirit Bear if you have a slot to spare. And then you just fight with your team. This hero is good at fighting early. He scales quite well, especially with all these neutral items. Yeah, give him a try in the offlane role. Of course, he can still be played very effectively as a safe laner or a mid laner. So this gives this hero a lot of flexibility. You don't quite know whether it's going to be a 1, 2, or 3. You know what lane it's going to be in. So I definitely think that we're going to see quite a lot of this hero being played in the pro scene on this patch. It doesn't have the greatest win rate in high-level pubs, but it's okay. People are still experimenting, trying out new builds, trying to see whether Radiance is still the build to go, whether they should go for something like a Mjolnir. Still a lot of experimentation going on this hero, including of course this new offlane Lone Druid. And yeah, definitely give this hero a try. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, join the fold, click the bell button. And coming up is going to be some more Gen content, so look forward to that. But we're also going to revisit Lone Druid definitely in the future and try to look at how mid lane and safe lane Lone Druid is going to be played in this patch. Here are some other videos you can look at if you want to, and Open is willing, I will see you there.